Thanks for clicking on this video. I really appreciate you being here. If you enjoy the story, consider subscribing and feel free to like the video or drop a comment below. It really helps the algorithm recommend these videos to you and to others who might enjoy them too. Either way, thanks for giving it a chance, and I hope it pulls you in. I used to love music, all kinds of music, anything with a melody, anything with rhythm. I would fall asleep with headphones on, wake up to songs playing from my phone, spend my commute lost in albums and playlists. Sound was my comfort, my companion, the thing that made the lonely hours feel less empty. I do not love music anymore. I do not love any sound anymore, because now I know what sound can do. I know what it can carry. I know what it can put inside you when you let it in. My name is Drew Mercer, and I am going to tell you about the night the sound came, and the night I finally stopped fighting it. I live alone in a 6th-floor apartment in a building called Garfield Heights, a large complex in the middle of a city that used to have 1 million people in it. The building is one of those massive structures from the 70s, brown brick and small windows, the kind of place where you can live for years and never learn your neighbors' names. I work at a distribution warehouse, the night shift mostly, loading trucks and scanning packages and trying not to think too hard about whether this is all my life is ever going to be. It is not glamorous work, but it pays the rent, and it leaves my days free for sleeping and my evenings free for doing nothing in particular. That Wednesday night in late February started like any other. I got home around 11 after a long shift, my back aching from lifting boxes, my feet sore from standing on concrete for 8 hours, my brain running on fumes. I heated up some leftover pizza in the microwave, cracked open a beer from the fridge, and collapsed on my couch with the television on low. Some late-night talk show was playing, the host making jokes I was not really listening to. I was not really watching, just letting the noise wash over me, letting my mind drift toward the sleep I desperately needed. My phone buzzed with that harsh emergency alert tone, the one that always makes your heart jump no matter how many times you hear it. I picked it up and read the message on the screen. Emergency broadcast. Do not listen to unknown sounds. Cover your ears immediately if you hear unusual tones or voices. Do not investigate source. Shelter in place. I read it twice, frowning. Do not listen to unknown sounds. What did that even mean? I assumed it was some kind of test, or a mistake, or maybe a prank that had somehow gotten into the emergency broadcast system. It did not make any sense. How do you not listen to a sound? Sound just happens. You cannot choose not to hear something. I almost laughed at how ridiculous it was. Almost. Then I heard something from outside my window. It was faint at first. So faint, I thought I might be imagining it. Like music playing from very far away, drifting up from the street below, carried on the cold February air. But something about it was wrong. The notes did not fit together the way they should. The melody, if you could call it that, seemed to slip sideways, to bend in directions that melodies are not supposed to bend. It made my teeth ache. It made something in my chest tighten. I stood up from the couch and moved toward the window, drawn by curiosity, by that instinct we all have to investigate strange sounds. My hand was reaching for the latch when I stopped myself, the words of the alert flashing through my mind. Do not listen. Do not investigate source. I stepped back from the window instead, my heart beating faster than it should have been. The sound was still there, growing slightly louder, and I realized it was not music at all. It was more like a voice, or many voices, humming or singing in a tone that seemed to bypass my ears and settle directly into my bones. It was beautiful in a way that felt wrong, like flowers growing from a wound. I muted my television and stood in the middle of my living room, listening despite myself, trying to understand what I was hearing. The sound seemed to pull at something inside me, seemed to whisper that I should open the window, should lean out and hear it better, should let it in. I caught myself taking a step toward the window again and forced myself to stop. I backed away until my shoulders hit the opposite wall, breathing hard, unsettled by how much I had wanted to move closer, by how much I still wanted to. Then I heard a door open in the hallway outside my apartment. Footsteps, then another door, then voices. I recognized one of them. Phil, my neighbor from 2 doors down. He was a middle-aged guy, quiet, kept to himself mostly. We nodded at each other in the hallway sometimes, but had never really talked. His voice drifted through my door, and something about it made my skin crawl. "Did you hear it?" Phil was saying. His voice was flat, monotone, completely without emotion. "You need to hear it. Come outside and listen." Another voice answered, a woman I did not recognize. "I heard it. It is beautiful. Everyone needs to hear it." I crept to my door and looked through the peephole, my heart pounding in my throat. Phil and the woman were standing in the hallway, both of them facing toward the stairwell, like they were listening to something only they could hear. Their faces were blank, expressionless, their eyes distant and unfocused. They looked like sleepwalkers, like people who were not quite present in their own bodies. As I watched, they turned in unison, moving together like puppets on the same string, and walked to the door of another apartment. They knocked, calm and patient, and waited. "Come out," Phil said in that flat voice. "You need to hear it. It is so beautiful." I stepped back from the peephole, my hands shaking. Whatever was happening, whatever that sound was doing to people, Phil and the woman had already been changed by it, and they were trying to spread it. Over the next hour, I watched through my peephole as more and more residents emerged from their apartments. All of them had the same flat affect, the same distant look in their eyes, the same calm patience. They spoke in monotone voices, always saying variations of the same thing. "Come listen. You need to hear it. It is beautiful. Everyone needs to hear it. You will understand when you hear it. Just listen, just for a moment. Everything will make sense." They knocked on doors. They called out to anyone who might be inside. Some of them pressed their ears against walls and doors like they were trying to hear something through them, or maybe like they were trying to push the sound through to whoever was on the other side. A few of them had phones out, holding the speakers up to door cracks and windows, playing something. I kept my hands pressed over my ears whenever they got close to my door. I did not know if that would help, did not know if the sound could get through, but I had to try something. The sound from outside was getting louder, clearer. I could almost make out words now, or what felt like words, meaning that hovered just at the edge of understanding. It was not one voice anymore, but many, dozens or hundreds layered on top of each other, harmonizing in ways that felt wrong but also achingly right, like a choir singing in a language I had never heard but somehow almost remembered. I stuffed towels under my door, pressing them tight against the crack at the bottom, where sound and light could seep through. I turned on my bathroom fan for white noise, that steady mechanical hum that might help mask whatever was out there. I turned on the kitchen faucet too, letting the water run, adding another layer of ordinary sound. I found my noise-cancelling headphones in a drawer where I had tossed them months ago and put them on, cranked up my music as loud as I could stand it, let the familiar songs drown out everything else. Even through all of that, I could still feel the vibration of the sound. I could still sense it at the edge of my awareness, pressing against my defenses, patient and persistent. It was like trying to ignore a toothache, like trying not to think about something you have been told not to think about. The more I tried to block it out, the more aware of it I became. Someone knocked on my door. I flinched so hard I almost fell off my couch. I stayed completely still, barely breathing, hoping whoever it was would think the apartment was empty. Drew, a voice I recognized. Linda, my upstairs neighbor. A woman in her 60s, retired, always asking me to help her carry groceries. Her voice had that same flat quality now, that same emptiness. Drew, are you in there? I know you're in there. You need to come out. You need to hear it. I stayed silent, pressing my hands tighter against my headphones. It does not hurt, Linda continued, calm and patient. I was scared too, at first. I was hiding in my apartment just like you. But then I heard it, and everything made sense. Everything is so clear now, Drew. You just need to listen. Just for a moment. Just let yourself hear it. The doorknob rattled, testing the lock. I backed away from the door, my heart slamming against my ribs. The lock held. Linda's footsteps moved away eventually, but I knew she would be back. They were patient, all of them. They had all the time in the world. I crept to my window, being careful not to make any noise, and peered through a gap in the curtains. The street below was full of people. Dozens of them, maybe hundreds, all standing perfectly still, all facing the same direction like they were waiting for something. Some of them were holding phones or portable radios or anything that could make sound. And all of them were playing the same thing, that same impossible melody drifting up from countless speakers. The sound was louder out there, clearer, and I could see why the people in the street were not moving. They were listening. They were basking in it. I saw a few people who seemed unaffected, running through the crowd, covering their ears, trying to get away. One of them, a young woman, was sprinting down the sidewalk toward the edge of the crowd. I watched her, silently urging her on, hoping she would make it. She did not make it. The crowd moved smoothly, calmly, without violence or anger. They simply stepped into her path, surrounded her, held her gently but firmly. One of them held a phone up to her ear. She struggled for maybe 10 seconds, then she stopped. She stood up calmly, her face going slack, her eyes going distant. She took the phone from the person who had held it to her ear, looked at it for a moment, and then walked to the nearest person who was still running and held it up to their ear. Whatever the sound was, it only took a moment of hearing it to change someone. Hours passed, The sound never stopped. I sat in my bathroom with the door closed, the fan running, my headphones on, music playing as loud as I could bear. My ears ached from the pressure of the headphones. My head throbbed from the constant noise. But I did not dare take them off, did not dare give the sound any opening. I could still feel it though, that vibration, that almost sound that seemed to bypass my ears entirely and reach directly into my brain. It was like a pressure, like someone pushing gently but persistently against a door I was trying to hold closed. I thought about escaping. There had to be a way out of the building that did not go through the hallways full of converted neighbors or the street full of patient listeners. The fire escape was outside my bedroom window, a metal staircase that led down to an alley, but I would have to open the window to reach it. I would have to be exposed to the sound, even for a moment. I was not sure I could survive a moment. My phone rang, cutting through my music, and I grabbed it with desperate relief. The screen showed my mother's name. She lived across the country, 2,000 miles away. She had to be safe. She had to be normal. I answered, pressing the phone against my ear under my headphones. "Mom?" "Drew, honey." Her voice sounded wrong. That same flat tone, that same empty quality. "I heard the most beautiful thing tonight, the most wonderful sound. You need to hear it too." My stomach dropped. "Mom, no. Whatever you heard, it is not." "Just listen, honey," she said, and I could hear her smiling even through the flatness of her voice. "Just listen." And then the sound started playing through my phone speaker, clear and loud and close. I threw the phone across the bathroom without thinking. It hit the wall and shattered, pieces of glass and plastic scattering across the tile floor. I sat there, shaking, my hands over my ears, my breath coming in short gasps. 2,000 miles away, and the sound had already reached her. 2,000 miles away, and my mother was already gone, replaced by something calm and patient that wanted me to join her. How far had this spread? Was it everywhere? Was there anyone left who had not heard it? My headphone battery was dying. I noticed it gradually, the way the music was getting quieter, the way the noise cancellation was failing. The sounds from outside were creeping in, the murmur of voices in the hallway, the shuffle of feet, the constant presence of that other sound beneath it all. I tore my sheets into strips and wrapped the fabric around my ears, layering it thick, anything to muffle what was coming through. I looked ridiculous, like a mummy, like a crazy person, but I did not care. I just needed to block it out for a few more hours. I just needed to survive until morning. The sound was beautiful. I hated that I thought that, hated that some part of me was responding to it even through all my defenses. But it was true. Now that I could hear more of it, now that my barriers were failing, I could appreciate what it was. Complex and layered and somehow perfect. Like every piece of music I had ever loved distilled into a single tone. Like the platonic ideal of melody. Part of me wanted to take off the headphones. Part of me wanted to remove the fabric from my ears and just listen, just for a moment, just long enough to really hear it. I understood now why people were letting themselves be converted. I understood why they were trying to share it. When you hear something that beautiful, you want everyone to hear it. You want the whole world to experience what you are experiencing. It felt wrong to keep it to yourself. It took everything I had to resist. I pressed my hands against my ears until they ached, hummed nonsense to myself, focused on my own heartbeat, anything to drown out the beauty that was trying to get in. The people outside my door were patient. They took turns talking to me, never angry, never frustrated, just calm and understanding. "We know you are in there, Drew," Phil said through the door. "We know you have not heard it yet. It is okay. We understand. We were scared too." "It does not hurt," the woman from before said. "It feels like coming home. It feels like finally understanding something you have been trying to understand your whole life. Everyone you know has heard it by now," Linda added. "Your friends, your family, everyone. You are the only one left, Drew. Why are you fighting it? What are you holding on to?" I did not answer. I did not make a sound. I just sat in my bathroom with my ears wrapped in fabric and my dying headphones playing music that was barely audible now. And I prayed for morning. Around 4 in the morning, I slept. I was exhausted, barely conscious, my body shutting down no matter how hard I tried to stay alert. My hands dropped away from my ears for just a moment, just a few seconds, my tired muscles simply giving up. I heard it clearly for the first time. The full sound, the complete thing, not muffled, not filtered, not fought against, just pure and clear and impossibly beautiful. It sounded like voices, but not voices. Like music, but not music. Like meaning without words. Like understanding without thought. For a moment, just a moment, I understood something. Something vast and important, and I clamped my hands back over my ears, screaming to drown it out, filling my head with my own noise, anything to break the spell. But I had heard it. I had heard part of it, and now it was inside me. Even with my ears covered, I could still hear the sound. It was playing in my head on a loop, clear as a memory, getting louder with every repetition. I fought it, focused on other sounds, my own heartbeat, my own breathing, my own voice humming anything I could think of. But the sound was patient. It knew I was tired. It knew I could not fight forever. It just kept playing, kept repeating, kept getting louder, and I could feel myself slipping, could feel my resistance wearing down. Grey light crept through the bathroom window. Morning had come. The sound from outside had stopped, or at least I could not hear it through the walls anymore. I could not tell if it had actually stopped, or if I just could not hear it over the sound in my own head, that constant loop that never ended. I carefully removed the fabric from my ears and listened. Silence from the hallway. Silence from the street. Just that sound in my head. Quieter now, almost manageable. Like a song stuck in your brain that you cannot quite shake. I opened my apartment door and found the hallway empty. No Phil, no Linda, no patient crowd waiting to share the beautiful thing they had heard. Just empty carpet and closed doors and the faint smell of dust. I made my way downstairs and outside. The street was deserted. Cars sat abandoned at odd angles, doors hanging open like their drivers had simply stepped out and walked away. Doors to buildings stood ajar. Trash blew in the cold morning wind. The people were gone. All of them. Every single person who had been standing in the street, every neighbor who had knocked on my door, every convert who had tried to share the sound. They had vanished like they had never existed at all. I walked through empty streets, calling out, looking for anyone. My voice echoed off silent buildings and faded into nothing. I checked cars, peered through windows, pushed open doors that had been left ajar. I found half-eaten meals on tables, television still playing to empty rooms, computers still logged in to accounts that would never be checked again. I found no one. The sound in my head was still there, quieter but persistent, always playing just at the edge of hearing. Sometimes it would swell for a moment, getting louder, and I would clap my hands over my ears until it subsided again. I could not tell if I was still myself or if I was becoming something else, changing slowly, the sound rewiring me one note at a time. I could not tell if I was the last person who had not fully heard it, the last holdout in a city of the converted, or if everyone else had ascended to something beyond human and left me behind. I did not know which possibility was worse. Days passed. I do not know how many. I found no one. The city was empty, completely empty. 1 million people simply gone. I checked apartments and houses and stores, called out until my voice was raw, but there was no answer. No sound at all except the wind and my own footsteps and that melody in my head that never stopped. I kept my ears covered most of the time, kept playing music from a portable speaker I found, kept fighting the sound that lived inside me now. But I was so tired, and it was so beautiful. And every day it got a little harder to remember why I was resisting. The sound was not trying to hurt me. I knew that now. It was not malicious or evil or hostile. It was just a sound, just a beautiful sound, and it wanted to be heard. That was all. It wanted to share itself with everyone, wanted to be experienced, wanted to be understood. And everyone except me had let it in. I sit on a rooftop now, looking out over the empty city. The sun is setting, painting the sky in colors that remind me of the sound somehow, warm and complex and layered. I have not seen another person in days. I have not heard another voice, except the one in my head. The sound is clearer now. I stopped fighting it a while ago, stopped trying to drown it out. What was the point? Everyone else was gone. Everyone else had heard it. Everyone else had understood something. I was too stubborn or too scared to let myself understand. It is telling me something, I realize. It has been telling me something all along, and I have been refusing to listen. But I am listening now. I am starting to understand, piece by piece, note by note. The sound is not a weapon. It is not a virus. It is an invitation to somewhere else, somewhere better, somewhere everyone I have ever known has already gone. I understand why my mother wanted me to hear it. I understand why Phil and Linda stood in the hallway with those peaceful looks on their faces. They were not trying to convert me or control me. They were trying to help me. They were trying to share something beautiful, something transformative, something that would take me wherever they had gone. And I kept refusing. I kept fighting. I kept choosing loneliness over surrender, isolation over connection. I do not want to be alone anymore. I take off my headphones. I unwind the fabric from around my ears. I sit very still on this rooftop in the fading light, and I close my eyes, and I let myself hear. The sound fills me up, and it is just as beautiful as I always knew it would be. It tells me things I cannot put into words, shows me places I cannot describe, offers me a hand, and asks if I would like to come along. Yes, I think. Yes, I would. I feel myself changing, and it does not hurt at all. It feels like waking up from a dream, like remembering something I had forgotten, like coming home after being lost for so long. The last thing I hear before I go wherever everyone else went is my own voice, humming along with the melody, finally in harmony with something greater than myself. At last, everything makes sense.